All right. Good night. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining our Money Talk Thursday. The three of us are here tonight to talk to you today about multiple streams of income. I hope that you've had a great week. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you chime in with your comments and your feedback. We love to hear from you. I am Nasika Cox. I'm a commercial lending broker, a businesswoman here in Houston, commercial lending, also a realtor, so residential real estate, as well as financial services. That's why we're all here. We're all in business together. We are all financial services strategists. And the reason why we're talking about multiple streams of income today is because I've been networking quite a bit this week, and honestly, I always, tell people about myself and my services without getting too detailed, especially when you meet people for the first time. And when I tell them that I do multiple things, sometimes, the response is like, "Oh my gosh, like you do all this stuff." And I've had to tell people I'm not an overachiever. That's not really what it is. It's just the fact that I believe in having multiple streams of income because of the climate that we're in. I feel like if we have the ability to do so, especially if it's in the same arena, financial services, real estate, commercial lending, businesses, it's all kind of encompassing. So why not? Why not do multiple things, right? And I know you ladies agree because you both do multiple things too. So I'll let you both introduce yourselves again and share with our audience what it is that you do, the services that you provide, and we'll get into our conversation. So first, Carolina, let's start with you.
Thank you so much, Nasika. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful night. It's night in Houston. So, I am Carolina. I'm an accountant. Talking about various streams of income, I am an accountant full time, and I also help small businesses build their accounting database. Right, I specialize myself in QuickBooks Online. So I take small business, super small business, because in order for you to go out there and get a loan, they will always ask you for your financials. And many people, that's where they get stuck. So that's where I come in. I help small businesses build their accounting system. I do their chart of accounts. I teach them how to do their own bookkeeping because there may be times that people are not ready to be paying an accountant on a monthly basis. So I just go there, install the program, and I create what's need to be created, and I teach them and let them work on their own. And I'm always open to answer questions. I also do taxes, individual taxes and small business taxes. And very new and recent to me, I just started doing international taxes for those people that do work outside USA. It's a challenge, but it's super doable. You might be asking yourself, how can you have like multiple jobs? You take that as a project, right? You work side by side. You don't have to fall off in one. You just have to prioritize whichever it needs to be done first. So that's me, and I'm passing to Denise.
Well, thank you. Thank you, ladies. And like she said, I am Denise Givan. I am an expert business coach. I am a financial strategist. I am a tax preparer. I'm a business coach. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I just have so many titles, but I truly believe in multiple streams of income. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. I am a storyteller, so I have to always tell people my story on why I became I guess I just say a serial entrepreneur because I have multiple streams and I also have multiple businesses. The number one reason why I do have multiple businesses is because I got tired of hearing this statement. Excuse me, Denise, can you come into my office? I would go into the office and they would say, guess what? Well, sorry, we no longer need you. I heard that over and over and over again throughout my career. So that did something to me. The last time I heard that was back in 2013. And I bowed. I said, listen, I have too many talents. I am a superwoman. I know I am an overachiever, Nasika. I am, and I know my worth. I know my value. I said that was the last time that anybody would ever tell me that they no longer needed me. They needed me. They just didn't need me to be on their payroll. So one thing, that was one of the reasons why I have multiple streams of income. Now, being a tax preparer, the tax business is a seasonal business. And thank God I just made it through the season. It was tough. I still have a few clients that I need to service, but for the most part, the tax season has kind of ended since the date has come and gone. And with the business coaching is where I land my hat year round. And I love educating small business owners how to make sure that their financial house is in order. So multiple streams of income is really, really, it's a must in my home, because I refuse to go back to a 9 to 5 and work for someone else. So for me, multiple streams of income is a must. So
I love that.
Back to you.
Thank you. I love that, Denise. And I love the analogy that you used, Carolina, when you talked about when you're in a role, right? When you're in a management role in the corporate sector, and I was in management and corporate, and you wear a lot of hats. You're working on multiple projects. You're merging, with other departments to work on projects. And then you have your day-to-day tasks, right? Anyone that's, been in a corporate structure understands that. You ladies understand that. So when you're working for yourself, when you're an entrepreneur and you have multiple streams, it's somewhat the same, right? You can only focus on one client at a time in any given moment. You can only focus on one task in any given moment. But being able to wear different hats interchangeably is a skill that you can grow. You know what I mean? And it's nothing like knowing your power, like you said, Denise, right? Knowing your personal power, knowing what you bring to the table, whether it be through your licenses or your experience. And one of the best things about, having multiple streams is it does make you a lot more knowledgeable in business, right? But you have to structure it in a way that's smart. For you, Denise, you're a business coach. You're also a financial services professional. You've been, you've had your tax business for 20 plus years. All of that is relatable. It's the same thing with you, Carolina, bookkeeping, taxes, accounting. It's all in the same family. So we're able to offer our clients a lot more value in that way. And I'll tell you guys out there, since joining forces with Carolina and Denise, I started doing taxes myself recently. Yay. Why not? Around all these tax professionals. So yes, I had to learn the game too for my own benefit, knowing all of the nuances with taxes, and then being able to add value to my clients, right? Because they may not be ready to invest in a commercial property or invest in a residential property, but they need their taxes done. And why not add value to them in that way? So that's the difference in the mindset of entrepreneurs who do multiple things. And I just wanted to share that with the audience. So we've all kind of shared what we do, but in this climate that we're in this day and age, with inflation being what it is, do you think it's necessary? It's all a choice for us, right? Because of our personal experiences. But do you think it's necessary now to have multiple streams of income? And I'll give it back to you, Denise.
Oh my God. Yes. Let me tell you, I just explained to you how I was sick and tired of people, telling me they no longer need me and all of that. That happens all the time. And when you, so the inflation side, that's one thing we can't control. We cannot control what happens with the economy. We can't control what happens with the government. We can't control none of that. But what we can control is how we earn money and how often we earn money and how much we earn money. So I always ask people when I talk to some of my clients and I offer them a different service, and they'll say, girl, I'm on a fixed income. I always say, well, who fixed it? Who fixed your income? I don't like that word, fixed income. I know there are a lot of people who live on a fixed income. People who work a job live on that's a fixed income, because they tell you you're going to start out at X amount of dollars per year. They fixed your income. And I had a guy ask me this one time. He said, Denise, how much money have you made in 1 year at one job? I said, well, I've made six figures before, working in the since I've been working. And he was like, okay, six figures. So like what? Just give me a figure. I said, I've made like 120,000 a year at a job before. And he said, oh, per year? He said, so why not make that per month? Now, when he asked me that question, I'm going to be honest with you. My mind could not go to that. My mind could not see myself making over $100,000 per month. But it was a mindset. So when I know you asked me a question about why is it necessary to have multiple streams. That's what that did. That question, it allowed me to create another stream that's outside of what I do. So that brought me to creating a trucking company. I figured, and I knew a lot of truck drivers who I did bookkeeping for, who I, serviced in the financial arena. They make a lot of money. So I put it I said, okay, so I was trying to figure a way out that I can make over $100,000 per month. So I figured it out. I figured out if having one truck underneath my belt, I was able to make about $50,000 per month gross with a truck. So I was like, but all the expenses for me not driving, I had to pay a driver, I had to pay fuel, I had to pay all the expenses that go along with it. But I could technically gross about 25 to 50,000 per month. So I said, hey, I think I'm onto something. I think if I add 3 or 4 more, I can make 100,000 a year. That question got me to think. So having multiple streams of income should open up your mind on how can I make X amount of dollars per month, the same amount you make annually. Come up with a strategy to make it, just like I came up with that strategy. I didn't know that I could actually do it. But when he asked me that question, I was like, how can I do it? I figured a way out. So that's one of the things having multiple streams of income will do for me. So when the trucking is slow, I can fall back on my tax business. When the tax season is over, I can fall back on my business coaching. When that is over, I can start helping you, Nasika, in the real estate industry, because I do credit. I do credit repair. And if you can't get someone closed on a deal because of credit, you can call me and say, hey, I got a client with credit issues. Can you help me? So that's what multiple streams of income does. It opens up so many avenues for you to collaborate with other people, to network with other people. And it just does a lot to, and it's good in your pocket. When one thing is not running well, you have another, something to fall back on.
Exactly. And I love the feeling of knowing that that we're going to be expecting some money or something, a client or business to happen, right? Especially when you work by yourself, sometimes you're making commissions, and sometimes you don't. It's a different structure. So just knowing that there's always something in the pipeline, that's reassuring. It really is. And another thing that I want to share that I really love about having multiple streams is that sometimes you can definitely avoid getting burnt out in one particular field, because you're able to take a break if you need to and focus on, other aspects of your business. And that way it keeps it fresh, and then you're able to do it holistically. So that's just my personal experience. But I do have a question for Carolina, because she's my foreign sister, being from Angola. I was thinking just about my family background. I wanted to know if it's been the same for you growing up. I always saw the men in my family do multiple things, whether it be on the side. My dad was a carpenter, so he had his job, and then he would work on the side on the weekends. But the women in my family, we did little things to make money, maybe like during the holidays. My grandmother would bake cakes. So we have like a lot of bakers in our family, or we would do like more creative things to sell to our friends and whatnot, but not necessarily in the structure of what we're doing it now as boss ladies. And I was wondering if you had to, experience like a mindset shift with that, even within your personal business, being a foreign woman and being raised a specific way, if you kind of felt like maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or I've never seen the women in my family, do business this way, and how you've had to just come to your acceptance, being a mom, and just being true to yourself, if you've had any experiences in that way.
Sure. The way I was brought up, I myself in the family that I was raised, I come from a super distinctive family. My dad, he was a chemist, and my mom, on the other hand, she is a farmer. I saw my mom fighting and working so hard that she would go stay out at her farm for 3 days in class. So she would go and make sure that her helpers are doing the job as it should be done. And plus, seeing my dad out for 28 days offshore. So we were home. We had to make sure that whichever, like the quantity, the money that we had, that we were left with, it's enough to cover. So I learned from the very early age to start doing something. So my first thing that I started doing something like in the US would call donuts. So I would take donuts to school to sell. It's very legal in Angola for a student to make something, a yogurt or donuts, and sell. So I started with this kind of life very super early. I remember the first time I did, I was 12. I was 12 or 13 years old.
Wow.
So I started doing that, and when by the time I got to high school, I started taking donuts and homemade yogurt. I know how to do make. I learned because my mom taught me, and because we have our own necessities, and sometimes your mom and your dad, they're not there, or they don't have money to share with you. And if they open the door and let you do something to earn money, legal way to earn money, right way to earn money, it's a take it. You take it, you dive into it, do something that it's on your level, right? You're not gonna go look for something to do like you a teenager. You don't want to like take a full-time job because you have school to attend to. So my family, we started working so hard since the very beginning. But looking in general in Angolan culture, back then, women were to stay home to take care of the kids, right? Either stay home or go farming. It's either stay home or go farming. It's very rare to see women going to offices and work like 8 hours and come back. Super rare, including that daycares. The business of daycare is booming now because back then we stood home and going to school, it's a half time. Since I grew up until now, it's always half time. It's not a full time going to school. So I had time to study and to do some kind of work, make my own money and help it at home. It doesn't mean that you're working, it's all for you. So you are actually one way or the other helping at home, bringing something. So it's really important to me, and having multiple stream of income, it's part of me. It's part of my life. So I came to US, went to school while working, while going to school. I started working. My first job here was as a waitress, and I love that. And they helped me with my English. So why not take it? So I was waiting tables. Later on, I bumped my school. At school, I bumped a girl, and she said, "Hey, do you want to do new incoming student orientation?" I said, why not? It's going to help me as well. So I started doing that. That was more to add value into what I was learning than money, because as a student orientation leader, you only get paid at the end of the semester. But it did help me a lot too. And it's really good. It's really nice. Different culture, different people, but having multiple places where you go get money gives yourself a financial get puts you in control of your own finances.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Very empowering. Yes.
giving you control of your finances. I myself, I avoid staying away from having debts. I always look on my debt to income ratio, and I do my best not to make my debts go on top, because I want to keep in control. I want to be able, if I want to buy my new car, I work to a dealership and they run my credit, they're not going to deny it. Or if I want to expand my business, I go to a bank or to a lender and I say, I want this much money. I don't want them to say, hey, your income to debt ratio, it's super high. So I just want to always have full control of that.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. That is fantastic. I had no idea that you had that experience growing up, but it speaks volumes to who you are now, right? Growing up with all of that discipline, and that structure within your family. That's amazing. So thank you. Now, with the way that you grew up, Carolina, and the way that we are as business women, how do we properly prepare our children, right? I've noticed I have two teenagers, right? So I haven't always been an entrepreneur. For most of their childhood, I've been an employee. I've worked, for a company. So this space that I'm in right now is amazing, and my children love it because I have more flexibility, and I'm able to teach them everything that I'm learning. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, we want to be able to implement that work ethic and that discipline within our children. And how do we do that as entrepreneurs? That multiple stream mentality and culture within our kids in this society that they're growing up in, which is quite different than how you grew up in Angola.
Sure. To me, I think that it's first we have to educate them about money.
Mm-hmm.
We want to give them allowance, but don't give to the point where they are so comfortable that every time they need, they come because they know mom and dad, they do have money and they're going to provide all the time. To me, I recommend to give the net, let them go fish and bring the fish. Don't give them the fish all the time. Sometimes you
Right.
see them like, okay, they're struggling. Okay, you go give a hand because they're struggling. But when you analyze what they call need, might not be a need, might be a wanting. So you help them identify the need from the wanting. When it's really a need, you give them the net and go fish for it. If they
love
go
it.
fishing whole night or whole day, they can fish anything, you jump and you give your advice and teach them, tell them the way you did it before, but contrasting with the current situation of the market. I believe greatly in education, higher education, but I also want to emphasize not to depend on it. Just like Denise mentioned, today you have a job, you're making a brilliant figure. Tomorrow you call at the office saying, I'm sorry, we are reorganizing the company. You need to go home. So what are you going to do? If all you know is keying number on the computer, what else do you know? I know nothing. I, as
That's a
a
very scary
single
situation.
mom, yeah, I am a single mom. And when I got divorced, I had to look for other streams of income because I have two kids. I had to go cleaning that lately came up as a cleaning company. So I started with houses, apartments, and I went into small offices. So what I needed, I said, I need to find something that I know that's going to give me money today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. And
Yeah.
thanks God, He provided me with clients. And at no moment I was a whole month or worried about paying my bills or even my rent or my gas or electricity. God always provided because I used what I had in my hands to go and find. Let's suppose my mom and my dad always provided. How would I have survived that?
Exactly.
So I believe greatly in teaching them, doing the
Mhm.
financial advice that we're giving to everybody else. We have to start at home and teach them.
Yes, that's a great answer. And I tell my kids that all the time. Both of them have jobs, and sometimes they try to compare themselves to their friends who are, I guess better off, right? Where they don't have to work. And I said, look, you're going to thank me when you're older because you're going to be resilient and you're going to be self sufficient in ways that those same friends may not be because they're totally dependent on their parents. But you're right. When you're going through it, you may not feel that way, but then you end up a lot more, more resilient and being able to create that power that Denise mentioned. So, Denise, what's your take on it?
Oh
Because I
my
know
God,
you're
Carolina,
angel.
she just taught me something. She dropped some gems, and I love learning. See, that's why I love doing this talk because
Right.
we're not just doing it for the people that's listening. We're actually educating and motivating ourselves. And
Exactly.
Carolina, thank you for sharing that because let me tell you a little bit about how I am with my kids. Now, I don't really, I'm not big on education, furthering their education. Now, if that's what they want to do, I'm going to support them. I don't really feel like it's necessary. But let me say this, it wasn't necessary for me. Now, they are different, they are different generation out there. So when you said that you want them to have the net and let them go fish for themselves. Oh my God, that is kind of how I am. But I will take the net and say, "Come here, let me show you how to do this," and I'll make them. I do too much. When you said let them go, if they out there all day and they don't catch anything, then that's when you step in. I learned something. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you for sharing that because it's not that I didn't know this. It's just when you apply it to yourself and think about how do I set the example for mine? What I do is they see me and my husband, hard workers. They know that we don't work for, a company outside of our own, and that's a plus. But they've also seen struggle because when you're in business for yourself, I know a lot of times we say that we're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. We are, sometimes it gets a little hard when you're out here by yourself because we do, because I don't have a steady paycheck if I don't get up and work. So I have a very disciplined lifestyle when it comes to getting up in the morning and making sure that I'm setting the example. Now for them, they see us work hard all the time. They never see us in bed, sleep late. And that's one thing that I do live by example on that. And I teach them as well. Now, before my kids graduated high school, I recommended, and I actually made it a requirement for them to have a business. I call it a business, a side hustle, or a way to earn money before they even go into the job, before they even start clocking in. So the first thing I taught them was entrepreneurship. Now, I'm not against them going into working, and being an employee. But what I want them to understand is that if my son Terrence right now, he's working and he's like, they didn't put me on the schedule. So they'll take him off and he's only working 3 days out the week. See, they're controlling what type of income he can make. But that's why I said, this is why I told you to use your skills. So this is the part you can control. So Terrence is a basketball player and he's good at it. He attracts little kids that say, "Oh, you're so tall. Can you teach me how to play?" yes, they have parents, and their parents want them to learn from someone who's close to their age. You are like a peer to them, even though the high school kids. He's only been out of high school 2 years. So if he can go get some high school kids, teach them what he knows, that's an income for him. And so that's what I tell him. Your gift will make room for you. Your gift will allow you to make an income. So that's how I teach my kids. Now, I do tell them both ways, but I did want to introduce that entrepreneur side to them first, because so they can see when they do go in and work for someone that the company is in control. But when you work for yourself, if you don't make a dime, whose fault is it? It's your fault. So that was the lesson I wanted them to learn early on, before they get into adulthood and before they start building a family, getting married, and all that good stuff. Like I teach my boys, and I know it's kind of biased, but boys, I read something or I heard something before that said a man is who his mother makes him. I took that to heart when I heard that, and I think I heard Ayana Van Zant say that. Ayana Van Zant said, a man is who his mother makes him. So I'm a little harder on my boys than I am on the girls, because I say, when you're ready to start a family and when you're ready to, I don't want you to move into an apartment. Nothing is wrong with living in an apartment. But my mindset that I didn't have that mindset when I was growing up. I want to tell them ownership is what I want you to look for. I want you to have a home. I always talk about real estate with them. And one of my suggestions is I want them to build their own duplex as a bachelor, as a young, because they're in their early, 19 and 21. They're young. And I tell them, I said, by the age of 24, you need to own a home, if not before. And I recommended the duplexes because I wanted them to learn how to live on one side and get rent on the other side. That's an income producing type of property. And I wanted to show them this is how you become an entrepreneur. You buy assets that make money for you. So those are kind of the lessons that I teach in my home. Now, let's go back to the work real quick before I pass it back. I am totally against them going in and working for somebody, but I would never tell them that. And the reason why is because I don't want them to get into that mold of, I know every week, every 2 weeks, I'm going to have a paycheck, whether, because I look at Terrence. Terrence shows me some of his videos when he's at work, and he's playing a lot, but he's still going to get that same paycheck. I want him to understand, when you work for yourself, if you're doing all that play, if you're not videoing it and making it out of a YouTube video or something, you're not going to get paid. So that's the reason why I'm kind of against them working, because to me, that's stealing. That's stealing time. But I love teaching. So let's sum it up. I'm going to sum it up with saying entrepreneurship, multiple streams of income is the way that I'm training my kids before they go out and work for another company. Mm-hmm. And that's why I just don't ever want them to experience that. Sorry, don't need you. Sorry, bye. We don't need you anymore. And because I don't know if they cut out like me, I'll go out and make it. I don't know if they're ready for that, but I want them to learn now, so they can, when they're ready, if it ever happens, that they know how to pivot. That's one of the lessons I want them to get.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that too, because that's something I've been struggling with, honestly. Just, we have the conversation at home all the time, but I will say there's one thing in the entrepreneurial culture, and sometimes the conversations that I have, just because you're an entrepreneur does not mean that you're anti-employee. And I mean, some entrepreneurs are. Some entrepreneurs are like, going to work is like modern day slavery. They it's just like exactly. and for me, I feel like to each his own. And also for younger people, I feel like it's really good for them to have that college experience if they want that, if they see the value in it, if they're studious and they want that for themselves, right? If it makes sense, right? Certain degrees may not make sense, but if you're going to school to become an accountant or a lawyer, okay, that makes sense, and you have a path. And if you end up in entrepreneurship, that's fine. I want you to understand. I want all of our youth, young people to understand that that's an option for them. And honestly, that's something that they should be moving toward eventually, right? Even if you have a full-time job and then you have businesses that you can do on the side, because the whole point is having multiple streams. But a lot of times you have to work for someone else to kind of figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not good at. And you have to understand that structure in order to become a leader, right? You have to sometimes be a good follower. I started my career out in the Navy. So, the military is like a step beyond being an employee. You really are. You're not even your own person. You got to do what you're told at any moment. But that was my first experience in life, and it was great for me at that time from 18 to 21, 22. At my age now, no, that's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? But in that stage in my life, it was good for me because it created the structure and the discipline that I needed, right? To even get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I know you get up at 4:30 every morning, Denise. Everybody don't got that structure.
I don't have that
discipline. Exactly.
That's when you make the money at 4 in the morning. When you get up at 4 in the morning, your phone is not ringing. You don't hear people running around. I can write a whole book from 4 to 8 o'clock. I can do everything before the world turns on. I'm done working pretty much when I do that. So that's my preference. I love it.
Yeah, and you're cut from a different cloth. That's not everybody's ability. Some of us are fighting to get up at 5:30. You know what I mean? At 6 o'clock. And that's what makes you so special and unique, But I think it's no one size for everyone. But I do think, for our children especially, we do need to teach them about how to create income for themselves, as well as to take advantage of opportunities, whether it be college, trade school. And we live in America, and I talk about my family all the time. Being born in America in my household growing up was a privilege. It was. And, I'm one of the younger cousins. My dad is the youngest of 7. So I'm one of the younger cousins. Most of my cousins are like old enough to be my mom or my dad. But I was always told that, I was blessed because I was born in America. And because of that, I had more opportunities. So I better take advantage of it. So that's part of my mindset too, take advantage of the opportunities that are afforded to you, even if you don't necessarily know where it's going to take you. Right. And Carolina, that's exactly what you did when you took on the challenge of hosting the welcome class at school and all the other things that you did. And as women, especially, I really give us credit for that, because a lot of times we have to pivot. A lot of times we start out with a plan and life circumstances happen, whether it be a divorce or, something happening within our family, a sick parent, and we have to pivot. And I know that's how I ended up in real estate. My mother was terminally ill. I was working for the government at the time, the federal government, and they wouldn't give me no time off. They wouldn't give me the time off that I needed to spend with my mom, because the way that structure is, you have to request time off. If it's during the holiday season, then sometimes you're not approved for the time off that you request, even if you have the time. You know what I mean? It's like a hierarchy. So I decided, I said, I'm going to get my real estate license, because my mother was sick to the point where she couldn't travel anymore. And I was like, I'm going to be with my mom. And I just put it all in God's hands, and I got my real estate license at night. And then I transitioned into corporate relocation. And, thankfully I was able to spend the last few years with my mom before she passed, including her last birthday, because her birthday was in December, including the Christmas holiday, her birthday, and the New Year's holiday, both my children and I. And she passed that same year. So, I have to thank God for the ability for me to pivot and say, okay, this particular opportunity isn't working for me. I'm going to create my own opportunity. And we all have that option. We all have that option. So
I have a question.
Yes, of course.
I have a question for you guys. So we're talking multiple streams of income. So let's talk entrepreneurship versus being a business owner. So, because we've been saying entrepreneurship, and I am on both sides. Now, I like being an entrepreneur. I like being, when I say entrepreneur, basically, if I don't work, I don't get paid. If I don't do the job right then and there, so I'm self-employed entrepreneur. So let's talk having a business versus being a self-employed entrepreneur. So let's hear your thoughts on it, and see what Carolina, what do you think about it? So have you been on both sides? And if so, elaborate on which one you like the best, or if you have not, which side do you feel is the most, I don't know the word, that suits you best? Let's say it like that.
That's a good question. So when you say entrepreneur, I am looking into, you develop a business, right? You create the business. You create the business, make it grow, and then you decide if you want to sell or what do you want to do with the business. Make it grow so you can become a business owner. So on me, I don't see that in me. I do not. I don't see myself as that much. I don't picture myself, because maybe it's because of the market itself, right? Here in the US, the market is super flooded. It's super flooded. I learned a term in my business class. They say they teach people to go into what they call blue ocean. You need to find a blue ocean. Blue ocean, it's a market where you're going to provide a unique product or a unique service, so that you're going to be like, it's going to be like a monopoly, I would say. It's going to be you controlling that market, that small niche. I've tried so much since I learned that. My first thing I wanted to create was backpacks. I wanted a very dependable and trustable backpack that I wanted to create for kids. Because when I grew up, Africa, I saw many kids going to school having their supplies in a plastic bag, right? They can afford, the parents cannot afford for backpacks. And the backpacks that get to Africa to be sold, they last like what, 2, 3 months? And then they go, it's no longer usable. So it came to me that I wanted to create backpack, but I don't know the design itself. So I've been looking for that blue ocean, and I haven't found it. With my struggles in life, I lean more into business owner, because I was looking for income, something immediate that would help me in my full-time job. The waiting period of 7 days or 14 days that I had to wait for a paycheck, I needed to be a business owner to make that extra income to cover my expenses that I could not cover with my paycheck. So that's what I think. I am more lean into small business than an entrepreneur, because I'm still looking for that blue ocean.
I love it.
Okay.
How about you, Nika? So to you, just explain to us, like, what is it to you to be a business owner versus an entrepreneur?
I think as a business owner, the business owner aspect would be a step beyond entrepreneurship, right? Because entrepreneurship encompasses being self-employed and also a business owner, because you're working for yourself. But as a self-employed person, you're pretty much like a one-man, one-woman show. And that's currently the quadrant that I'm in, right? Whereas, if I don't work every day, if I don't have clients, if I'm not closing business and I'm not making money, And eventually, yes, the goal is to become a full-fledged business where I have an agency, a team of people who are all working with me within the business. And I'm just not the sole person doing everything. I dream of that, honestly. I was reading a post on LinkedIn today about just overworking, and especially in the beginning of entrepreneurship, it's a lot of work. It is. And that's something that, we can't shy away from when we have the conversation. It is a lot of work, but anything worth having is. So
Right.
eventually the goal is to get to a point where I'm not, working so hard to develop, um, I would say, momentum, to develop and to create consistent credibility, and where the referrals are coming to me, right? That's the goal, to where I can actually train other people. And that's what I get excited about too when I think about the future. Just being able to lead other people, to share the many things that we've learned, to share our stories, to be able to inspire other people to do the same. Because a lot of times, what I notice about talking to people who have never ventured into entrepreneurship is they just don't even see it for themselves. Whereas it really is for everyone. You don't have to be super experienced. You don't have to be super intelligent. You don't have to know everything about everything. You just have to take the first step and be consistent with it.
The business owner side for me was where I wanted to always be. And I know I mentioned that about the trucking business, right? So
Mhm.
the trucking business was one of my first, I could say, business that I was not self-employed. I actually was on my own payroll. I was able to run it. But the key to it is I depended on other people to make sure that we made money. That part for me,
Mhm.
I was thinking, so when I was working for someone, I was a really good employee. I went to work on time. You didn't have to, I didn't steal paper clips. I didn't steal paper. I didn't steal staples. None of that. I was a good employee. I didn't take all that stuff home. So when I started when I had the trucking business, it was so hard to keep good truck drivers. And so now so I don't know if it's best to have the business or is it best to be self-employed, because it's one thing I know about me. Like you said, I get up early in the morning. I'm going to get up, I'm going to work. I'm going to make sure that I'm able to make money, and I can depend on me. But it's so hard, and this is something that I'm working this is a whole nother time that we can talk about, a whole nother conversation about trust. But I know I trust myself, and I trust that I'm going to do what it takes to get the job done. And the personality I have is I know that I can go out and build relationships with people to do business with. But the business side, I like the entrepreneur side, but it's more work because I have to do it all. I have to do it all. I
Mhm.
have to get the clients. I have to send the emails. I have to make sure and
Right. You have to do the
that's the good
invoicing,
part.
everything. Mhm.
Exactly. But the business side is got the vision and I set it up. And now I say, okay, so now we're sending you here to this place. And they call in and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to work today. I need to learn how to pivot and build a business to where it can sustain on its own and run. So I got a taste of both of them, and both of them are good. I've learned a lot. So that's why I asked that question. What side do you like being on? And so by me experiencing both sides, I love them both. But that entrepreneur side is my comfort zone because I know I can depend on myself to get up and get it done. And even if I don't get sick a lot, and that's a good thing. But if I was, I would still get up and work. I would not just say I'm sick. I got to be almost about to leave this earth before I stop working. And I don't have office hours. I tell people I do. I hope nobody's on here listening. But what I mean by that is when I say I don't have office hours is I get up early in the morning, I work. And sometimes if I feel like it, I'll go stop. So if I work from 4, I don't work from 4. I get up, so I'll start working about 6:00 a.m. I'm sitting at my desk actually working around 6 a.m. most of the time. And I'll work sometimes to 6:00 p.m. And then I'll take a break and I'll go eat, cook, talk to the family, watch a little TV, which I very rarely do, but I need a break from work. Then when I'm done with that, I only can do that a couple of hours. I can look at a show a couple of hours or talk on the phone, whatever. Before I go to bed at night, I'm going to sit back at my computer and say, let me see what I'm going to do tomorrow. I still have to make sure that my day starts off good the next day. So I will sit here and structure my day. So these are just some tips on why multiple streams of income is so important, and why, and one way that you can make sure that you maintain it is you got to have a structure. You got to know where you're going and how you're going to get there. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur or a self-employed person, you got to know, can I trust myself? Can I trust myself that I'm going to do what I need to do to make the money that I need to make? So I just wanted to share that, because a lot of people say, you know, well, because I hear a lot of my friends say, well, girl, my hat's off to you. I couldn't do it. I need my benefits. And I was like, oh, I have benefits. You know, I have benefits.
You can have benefits as an entrepreneur, of course.
Yes, but a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people feel like they have to be with this job in order to have it. And there's some more. So I said that one. A lot of my friends say they don't want to be entrepreneurs because they don't want to leave their job. Let's say that. They didn't say they didn't want to be entrepreneurs. They don't want to leave their 9 to 5 because they don't want to leave their benefits. What's some of the things you've heard some of your people, friends you know, or people you know, say why they don't want to leave their jobs?
A lot of times they just don't want to do the work. A lot of my friends are really honest. They like having their structure. They like having their weekends off. They like knowing that they're going to get their paychecks every week, every other week. And I don't fault them for it. You know, everything happens in timing, you know, and then I have some friends who are completely overwhelmed at work. You know, I have a friend now who's been, she hasn't been well. And a lot of it comes from the stress that her job produces, because it's a very stressful job. And I think just the environment, the office environment is toxic. So, you know, she's been dealing with health issues because of it. And honestly, you know, I love her. So I get frustrated. I'm just like, if only you knew that there was other things that you could do, that you wouldn't have to jeopardize your health. If you believed in yourself enough, you know. And I say that out of love, because I'm not judging her. I'm not saying that she doesn't believe in herself. But again, it has everything to do with the mindset. And we all get to a point in our lives where we're like, okay, I want something different, or I want something better, or I want more. And, you know, a lot of it has to do with personal life experiences and circumstances to get us to that point where we're like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to, you know, believe in myself or venture into entrepreneurship, unless you grew up in that environment already and it's something that you're just already accustomed to and it's your norm. So I love having this conversation. I can have this conversation for the rest of the night, because we can get into relationships. Denise, you said a couple of things that prompted me to think about, okay, the reason why this works so well for you in your household, Denise, is because you and your spouse are both entrepreneurs. So your life, your work is intertwined with your life. It really is. And you've been able to do that, right? I've noticed that myself, that my work has become intertwined in my life. Usually, you know, I'm up by 5:30. I'll walk my daughter out as she goes to school in the morning. And then I'm on my laptop. I may take a break to do some exercise. Usually I go to the gym in the evening. But sometimes, you know, I'll go for a walk in the morning, but then I'm, you know, back on my laptop. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm trying to do as many things as I can, because now, you know, nowadays you got to be on social media. You have to do your social media marketing. So like time blocking for all of those things, following up with prospects, right? Potential clients, and then already working the clients that you already have on the table. It can be a bit much. Plus, you know, we're doing things like this, getting information out, putting ourselves out there. It can be a very long-winded circumstance. You start your mornings at 6, like you said, Denise, and sometimes you're still working at like 10 o'clock at night. We've been on Zoom at 10 o'clock at night before.
Yes.
It's not uncommon. You have to have a partner that understands that. So I think to myself, okay, like how long is this really going to be sustainable? And I want to ask you this question: how important is it when you're living a life of entrepreneurship to have a spouse or a partner that either is in the same boat that you are or understands that? Because it can really affect your relationship. It can affect your home life.
Well, for me, let me tell you what works in our home. We have a clear understanding of where we're going. And when I say that, I mean income wise.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say we have an income goal of to do a certain thing, and I'm not saying that I'm going to bring it in or he's going to bring it in. It's a collective thing. So when I'm up working, I'm a little more. I guess I can say all over the place because I don't have a set time that I work. Like I'm up at 6, I work sometime till 3, and then I'll take off for 2 hours and I'll come back. He's more structured. He's gonna get up. He's gonna be up before me. He's gonna already have coffee ready. He's gonna already have his calls and stuff that he's doing. But when he's done, for as the computer side. So then he has his basketball. So he goes sometime out of the house to do that. So that gives him time to leave, get out the house, get some fresh air, and get out from in front of his desk. So how it works in our home is we have an understanding that we have a common goal in mind that we need to make X amount of dollars by any means necessary, as long as legal. Let's say it like that. Legally, we got that common goal. And we have to both sometimes say, and he does it more than I do, say, hey, babe, you want to watch a movie? That's code for, hey, we need to spend some time. Or, hey, babe, the game on, you want to watch the game? It's not even really about the game or about the movie. It's just us knowing that, hey, okay, you've been working a lot. And that's kind of I guess you could say our little trigger when we need to spend time. We ask.
Mm-hmm.
We ask. We just say, hey, you want to watch a game with me? I never say no. If I don't want to watch the game, the answer is still going to be yes. The reason why is because that's code for I need my wife. I want my wife here sitting next to me. If she fall asleep while she's watching the game, at least that's the time. So that's how it works in my household. So the key is having a good understanding and having a spouse that even if when he did work a 9 to 5, it was still some structure because I still most likely work, for myself. He was more structured. He'll go to work. He'll make sure that the house, when he comes home, the household stuff was together. So that was still like a role. And he does that to this day now. So we have that part together. It's not my job to cook or his job to take out the trash. If the trash needs to be taken out and I'm standing right there, I take it out. If the dishes need to be washed and it's not my job to wash the dishes, whomever see the dishes, they clean. So that's why I feel our household works for us because we run our household with we don't have a job. Like I don't have a specific job, even though I got to say this, he does a lot more than I do. a whole lot more than I do, but that's just the balance. So for us, that's what makes it work. So Carolina, if you, I wanted to go back to that question when you asked, when we were talking about the 9 to 5, do you know, and that's the same thing as like with having balance. That's all it is, balance in the household, balance. And I just wanted to get your take on the 9 to 5 before we close out.
I myself, because I have a full-time job and on top of that, I have my small business. So I have to be at the office at 7:30. But when I wake up, my morning prayer, and then once I'm ready, I don't leave the house without saying good morning to the kids, right? I have to wait until they wake up. I give them a good morning kiss. We do the prayer together, then off, I'm gone. So when I'm back home, I'm either stopping to pick up one of them or both of them. I'm taking one of them to after school practice or something, music class, or somebody has a play, there we going. In meanwhile that I'm doing that, I'm checking my phone, I'm still working. So I have to divide myself. So I see myself a lot working, sitting here. That's why, Denise, I respect you with all my heart, all my soul to wake up at 4 because I sit here until 1 a.m. I'm still working until 1 a.m., 1:30. I'm still working. So when my 5:05, the first alarm rings and I snooze it until 5:30. So I'm up at 5:30 because I just can't function. I can't function going to bed at 1:30, 1:45 and being awake at 4 a.m. I'll be so done by, I would say, 9, 10 a.m. My body would need to go back to sleep. And I can't afford taking nap throughout the day. I don't do that. I can't do that. I remember one day, it was January, I tried once to taking nap on a Sunday. I took 45 minutes. Now, when I woke up, I felt unwell. I felt so unwell that I was like, I said, I am sick. I need to go to the doctor. It's something that I'm not used to. When
Keep
I'm
living,
awake,
baby. Keep living. Keep living. You telling your age over there because I gets me a nap in where I can. You telling your age. Our youngsters don't believe in naps.
I know. I know that nap can
so
be
that
everything. A 20
routine to
minute
me,
nap.
it's in my blood.
Mhm.
I'm used to it working full time, being full time mom because I still have to cook. I still have to do laundry, and I still iron. I have to iron and
Mhm.
do the setup for the week, and we have to go through homework. We have to sit down for homework. Yes, we're still on that stage. I'm still there. I have to sit down, check on the homeworks. And sometimes, mommy, my ankle hurts or my arm hurts. I have to pay attention. But
Mhm.
I cannot let things fall into the cracks. I pay attention to what it's needed to be done. And I have to double check, hey, you had something planned for next week. How are we standing? Or are you competing for this? How is it coming? Do you want mommy to hear a piece of music that you have to play? So I take like my 15, 30 minutes to dedicate to each one of them and ask how the day was. To me, sitting at night to have dinner, it's something holy that we have to do. It's a must. We have to sit down at night for the dinner. That's my time that I have for my kids to ask
Mhm.
how the day was. Anything, if something is bothering, that's where I'm informed. So I get informed from there and I take action. And so 9 to 5 is not me.
Yeah, so it's pretty much all day with you as well, right? You
Yes.
wear so many hats. And I just want to commend you both for the wonderful job that you're doing within your homes, within your businesses. You speak for all us women, we do what we have to do. And that's what I was thinking of when I was just listening to you, Carolina. You're doing what you have to do and you make it look easy. You make it look easy. But I want to encourage us to not forget about taking care of ourselves, right? Sometimes you're going to have to take that nap, Carolina. Get into the practice. A 30-minute nap can really make a difference.
Girl, yes, that's my saving grace.
That's right. That's right. And we're coming up on time. So I do want to wrap it up, but I want to give us all an opportunity for us to, share how people can get in contact with us. Maybe just an email address and a social media platform that you frequent that people can reach out to you on, so we can keep the conversation going. I really want to talk about credit. You mentioned credit, Denise, so maybe that's something we can talk about next time, especially as entrepreneurs, as business people. How do we keep our credit in check, right? Because credit is very important. We're in financial services. How do, as business people, we keep our credit evolving and that sort of thing? That way, we can qualify for certain things as business owners, right? Especially if you don't get that W-2 as employees. So that's something I'd like to explore. But let's go ahead and close it out for tonight. We had a wonderful conversation. Thank you for being so transparent, ladies. So Denise, go ahead and let everyone know how they can get in touch with you. And then
Well,
pass it on to
everybody, you can
Carlina.
get in touch with me right here on this platform. You can send me a comment, put a comment in there and say, hey, ladies, I really enjoyed it. And if you want to get more information, you can DM me on all of the platforms that you're listening to me, with me now. And also, if you wanted to just reach out and just send me an email, send it to Denise at coachmetolife.com. And that's Denise, my name, Denise, at coachme, the number 2, life.com.
All right, Carolina.
Hi, and I've been asking or telling people that I will work on my social media. I'm still social media phobia. That phobia, I need to get rid of it. But you can always reach me with my email. I really like reading emails. I'm on top of my email. You can email me at cchico. It's my C for my first name, Carolina. cchico.financialhealth@gmail.com. Thank you so very much.
All right. And my name is Nasika Cox. As you already know, you can reach me on this particular platform that you're viewing this video on. You can DM me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can Google my name, Nasika Cox, and all of those profiles will show up. And you can also email me at nasika.wealthbuilder@gmail.com. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your Thursday night and your weekend. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday for our Money Talk Thursday. And you guys take care. See you next time.
See you next time.